And once something makes it on the record, it's only the first step. So with that, the next question becomes, what happens when feedback is documented? The process itself isn't working the way it should. Because that's what we've been seeing with the Climate Smart Community Program. It was up for a third time before the board for a vote. And going to the meeting, it was already clear there weren't enough votes for it to pass. It was suggested that the workshop happened that night, and in 2 weeks there'd be a vote on it. That communication was done ahead of time, but the item remained on the agenda anyways. This is a New York State program that offers access to grants and technical assistance. Some of those grants are relatively small, some can go up in the millions of dollars depending on the project. It's free to join, and the town can opt out every 5 years. It's been a big sticking point. So on the surface, it sounds straightforward. But in practice, it does take some coordination. It takes some time. It takes some planning. And it takes answering some pretty reasonable questions about what happens after you opt in. And those are the kind of questions being raised. Again, some of these have been raised before. So instead of forcing a vote that wasn't going to pass, there was a motion to reschedule it, to take 3 weeks, because it's a 3-week cycle this time, to get answers and come back better prepared. The motion was made, it was seconded, and it needed one more vote. But Alex voted it down. And that raised a reasonable question. If the goal is to move something forward, why not take the time to get it to a place where it can actually pass? Because rescheduling wasn't a no. It was a path to getting to a yes with better information. Instead, the process moved forward. And there's always the same outcome we've seen multiple times now. And this is where a bigger pattern starts to come into focus. Because this wasn't just one vote. We've been keeping tabs. How many failed resolutions we've had since the new board took office at the start of 2026. Every time something comes forward that isn't quite ready, there is an alignment. Every time a vote happens before the groundwork is really there, the number goes up. 1, 2, 3. Maybe it was just an adjustment period. But then it kept going. 4, 5, 6. And we started to pay a little bit more attention. Because it's not isolated anymore. It's a pattern. And the Climate Smart Community Vote, that's another one. And when you step back and look at it more broadly, the number's now 10. 10 votes that weren't ready, that didn't pass, that needed more time. And that's not about whether the ideas are good or bad. It really reflects whether the process is being followed to get the items to a point where they can actually pass, or is the board discussion a first step in a longer journey? Because when things move too quickly, when there's pressure put on something on the agenda before it's fully worked through, you don't get efficiency. You get delays. You get repeated conversations. And you get a situation where the same issues come back without full resolution.